end where it goes down, but here are only levels where it's going up. So I suspect this is only already through the late phase of learning where it's already going up. So, but it doesn't say anything about it, convergence. So what does say something about convergence is kind of how these kind of, well, no, it doesn't say anything about convergence either, because what says something about convergence is only this graph. Yes, we have tested this on many different setups with different numbers of input patterns. So we've got up to 200 different input patterns. And input patterns come into classes. So for each class we have 10 input patterns. So this is 20 classes, so we have 20 different output spike trains. We have here 10 hidden neurons, 20 hidden neurons, 30 hidden neurons, so we also vary the number of hidden neurons. This, what you're seeing here, is an experiment with just a single output neuron, but we've run others where we have 30 output neurons, but I didn't find graphs, so I not included them here. So this means we can do mapping of 100 of spike trains to 100 input spike trains to 30 output spike trains. Obviously, you have to adapt the size of the hidden layer in order to do this. But what you see here is, performance is going down the more pattern pairs, input-output pattern pairs you're learning. It's quite normal. If you have more hidden neurons, you have more degrees of freedom in your network. So the capacity, if you like, the memory capacity is kind of higher, because here you can learn 200 input patterns still with 90% performance, whereas here it's going down to 60%, 70% performance, which is still quite good for this type of network.
So that turnover eventually with overfitting if you kept adding?
Yeah, we haven't really tested overfitting, but that would be kind of also something we should test. I doubt that it's very much, because, well, I can't say anything about it, so I better keep shut then. We've got, weight jogging sometimes help, and this is a stochastic scheme anyway, so there's automatic jogging for weights anyway, so who knows. But this is much, much better than all the other schemes that I'm aware of can do. And as I've said, we've done many more experiments, and this is also my last slide now. So the result is something compared to other learning algorithms for spiking neural networks. We can learn much more input-output. We have up to 20 classes or 200 input patterns, versus usually I've seen experiments with so 3 or 4 input and output pairings. We can have more time output spikes than the other schemes. Usually we have up to 10 individual times. For input we haven't really counted, but for the output it's essential because you learn them 10, each of them individually timed, whereas usually it's 3 or 4, so it's much bigger. 10 over a period of 100 milliseconds, which is quite realistic somehow. You don't need much more. Performance is relatively high, 90%. This is not good enough for technical applications, but it's much, much better than other schemes. If you look at animal networks and so on, you get the same order for cognitive modeling and so on. Multiple outputs. Graphs I showed you were mainly just one. That's probably started to get up to 30.
Oh, so you mean one output neuron, 30 output neurons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah. And each of them have, I don't know, 5, 6.
So each of them, you get 30 output neurons. How do you see which? You want to have different patterns from each of the neurons?
Yes.
And you gauge correctness if they're all correct, or
Calculate the collective
cool.
van Rossum distance. We add up the van Rossum distances for each other. Just as you would do for weight, where it's just the sum of the same. So I hope that this opens up the use of these spiking neural networks for technical or at least cognitive modeling tasks, or perhaps some cognitive robotics or whatever. I like these because they are kind of biologically more plausible. What I also want to see, and this is also part of the ground proposal, I want to see them somehow implemented in a neuromorphic hardware, but I'm not sure whether this goes. Because we are relying on feedback signals which are not biologically plausible, they are targeted to the individual neuron. So one of the further work that I would do is see whether we can also do, not with a targeted signal, but with a signal that's only right on average. Sometimes it's a bit more blurred. and not time dependent. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think that if you put this on,
Just, we just.
so if you're looking at Spinnaker,